Hey everybody, just wanted to make a quick video for you guys to show you the importance of pacing and not always kind of going full gas. So here we have an example of an athlete over here, and on paper, this is a run, looks pretty good. But when we dig into it a little bit deeper, there are some indicators that this athlete is not ready for something like this. So you can obviously see here that this is 190 beats per minute over here. So that's why, just if you take it on its face, it looks like it's a pretty decent run. The heart rate's pretty steady. It looks like they hit their power markers for the majority of the time, which is all good. Things you want to kind of stimulate for their specific target for this run. And so that looks good. But like we talked about, digging into it a little bit deeper here, you have the 190 BPM, and I'll be honest with you guys, this is not a FTP workout here. This is more of a sweet spot tempo kind of a run here. And with that, you shouldn't expect to see your heart rate going to these upper ceilings, these upper echelons of your capabilities. So I know this athlete probably realistically has about 5 more beats in him, but this time of year, that shouldn't be the main, the goal. We shouldn't have heart rates that high all the time. And this is a pretty routine thing for this athlete when they throw in some intensity. So it is a combination of a couple of things. First of all, this is who this athlete is. But, this is a big but, 190 beats for all of your intensity, that should not be the case. Typically, we should have about 20, 30, hopefully 40 lower here that we can at least track realistically. And so today they did a workout. This is an endurance run, and you can see the markers are a lot lower, right? That power, they didn't quite hit their markers. But you could see that the heart rate is very, very much lower, right? So over here we got 190, and if you look at the kind of the right-hand side over here, they're right around 154, 153, 55, somewhere in there for this. And I'll take that. I'll take that all day, right? Because at the end of the day, this athlete needs a little more time in that aerobic zone to kind of absorb some of that anaerobic stuff, some of that extended time right around your aerobic threshold, that kind of stuff. And digging in a little bit deeper, you can see that this athlete is just starting out, right? So they're just starting out with consistent training over time, which is a big, big thing, consistent training. And you can see that anaerobic, that blue, right? You can see that is going pretty steadily up, right? But you can also see that the red is starting to catch up, especially since this is the run that we just talked about, this 190 beat one right here. And this is what it did to that anaerobic side. Looking at the aerobic, that aerobic development, yeah, there was some, and you will get that from some of these intense workouts for sure, right? There is going to be some crossover in there for sure, but you can see that was definitely considered an anaerobic workout from that athlete's physiological standpoint. So when this happens to you guys, I guess we can kind of talk about this a little bit more and then we dig into the last part. But what you want to avoid in the early part of the season is this huge ramp, right, from that anaerobic side. Because what you want is that aerobic ramp to just be steadily rising, steadily increasing, right? And that is so you can absorb the anaerobic side of workouts, right? Once that intensity comes, you're not going to be hunker down in your bed for 3 or 4 days to absorb that one workout that you did. And if that's the case, we're going to back you down no matter what, right? Simply because you cannot absorb that amount of training, or we're going to back the intensity down. Let's pretend these were 15-minute intervals. I think they were, right? In this athlete's case, we might back him down to 2 10-minute intervals, something like that. We might drop the power 5, 10 watts, right? But this is where power becomes very, very critical, right? And this is allowing us to see that this athlete is more of an anaerobic style of athlete. So we might not have to do the traditional, let's say, tempo intervals for this athlete, right? Just because we know that they really, really struggle with that. So this athlete's going to get much more of a benefit from that aerobic style of training. And again, that's going to be a little bit harder for a lot of you guys to swallow, right? But over time, it's going to become much, much more beneficial simply because this athlete can ramp up so quickly on the anaerobic side, and it takes them a good amount of time to ramp up on that aerobic side of their physiology, if I could say that right. So just because power numbers drop or things like that, don't just take that as your FTP went down or something like that. This is a good kind of example of why the FTP isn't always the end-all, be-all of your training. And this is a really, really good example of that early side of training as well. So when you have this anaerobic side kind of ramp up and overtake that aerobic side, and it just keeps on climbing and climbing and climbing, that's when you're going to start to run into issues, and that's where a lot of people really, really struggle in the middle part of the season and towards the end of the season, purely because of what they've done before leading up to that last couple of races of the year. So just another quick why of why we do some of these easier runs again and again and again, easy, endurance, that kind of stuff. So if you have any other questions, please let me know, and I will happily talk to you about this a little bit more. So Happy New Year, guys.